I would like to extend my thanks to WDLC, WTSX, and Access 8 for giving me this time to talk to the people of Deer Park. Hi, I'm Linda Lee Abraham, your Democratic candidate for the Town of Deer Park tax collector. I am a native of the tri-state area and the youngest daughter of John and Mary Gould. I'm married to Ed Abraham and have two sons, ages 10 and 20. As a 1972 graduate of Port Jervis High School and the Middletown Beauty School, I have owned and operated my own business for 15 years. I have always dealt honestly, fairly, and compassionately with all of my clients. My main concern is to make the tax collector's office hours more accommodating for the senior citizens and the working people of Deer Park. You can be confident that I will handle all records and money in a timely, organized fashion. While I was going door to door, I heard your concerns about the way the tax collector's office has been run in the past. I feel that taxpayers are my boss, and I pledge I will be available to you at the town hall during the months of January, February, and March to personally handle all your concerns, in addition to collecting your taxes. Now, I know nobody likes the tax collector, but somebody has to do the job. I want to be the somebody. So please, vote for me, Linda Lee Abraham for tax collector, and the rest of the Deer Park working team. Wayne Decker for supervisor, Mary Acavino for town clerk, and Harry Eric Stein for councilman. You can find my team on rows A or H on November 7th. Thank you. I would like to thank WDLC, WTSX, and Access 8 for this opportunity to speak to the people of Deer Park. In case you don't already know me, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mary Acavino, Democratic candidate for town clerk. I'd like to say a few words about myself. I was born and raised in the tri-state area, daughter of Mary and John Gould. I'm a graduate of Port Jervis High School, married to Joseph Acavino for 24 years. We have two children, Jonathan and Michael. I have over 15 years experience in various office procedures, and I am computer literate. I have always given 110% of myself to any job and will continue to do so. My interactions with the community are very important, and I believe in leaving politics to the politicians. I will do the job that a town clerk is supposed to do, which is not setting town policy, but is basically office work, taking accurate minutes, filing, typing, giving permits, and record keeping, so the politicians can get on with helping improve the Deer Park community. I have concerns for all the residents of Deer Park. I will be open and receptive to all who enter the town hall, and all personal business will be confidential. I will strive to make the office hours more suitable for the people of Deer Park. In addition to issuing permits and licenses every day, I will open the office 2 Saturdays a month. The first impression of Deer Park is the contact made with the town clerk. I believe a friendly, courteous, and efficient atmosphere will make people feel more comfortable and project a better image of our town. Going door to door and listening to the comments of the people, I feel this is not being done. That is why it is important for you to vote for me, Mary Acavino, for town clerk, and the rest of my team. Wayne Decker for supervisor, Harry Eric Stein for councilman, and Linda Lee Abraham for tax collector. Thank you, and remember to vote row A or H on November 7th.
We're going to have to wait until after the debates for the other statements. We understand Access 8 had a problem with the filming. We've all had our problems tonight, apparently. But we do need to get on with the live portions of our program tonight. And we're going to ask the town board candidates. By the way, there will be time for 2 or 3 questions submitted in writing from the audience. If anyone feels that they have a question that will be answered by all candidates, we're not looking for candidate questions submitted to individual candidates. Any question asked will be answered by all candidates and grab one of these forms. Would anybody like a form? We'll call for these at the appropriate time. And again, questions that pertain to issues or policies and can be answered by all candidates. Do I have the town board candidates up here, please? Let's clear this up just much. Let's get rid of this. I'd like the candidates to draw a piece of paper. Number 1 will sit in the far left chair, number 2, number 3, and number 4. And if we have reporters who are going to join us for questioning this evening, I'd like you to come up front. Okay, we're going to be ready to go in I can take it at any time. Could you do me a big favor? You'll get paid. You'll get paid.
No, Mike. They had a problem with one. Did they?
Thank you. We're finally on the air this evening. We've had a multitude of technical difficulties. I don't know whether this is a little lingering Halloween effect or what that's been plaguing us this evening, but we've already concluded one part of our program, and that's the statements from candidates for town board, or not town board, town clerk, tax collector, highway superintendent, and town justice. These will be broadcast tomorrow night, immediately coming out of our 6 o'clock news. We apologize for the problem we had with that. We are on the air live now. We have on board candidates for town board, and there are 4 of them here tonight, and there's going to be opening statements of up to 2 minutes. Then we'll have questions from the panel of reporters that's here this evening, and time permitting, we'll take maybe 2 or 3 questions from our very large audience that's packing the town hall in Deerpark this evening. So without further ado, as soon as we get the water distributed for our candidates,
Thank you.
We will turn to our candidates for opening statements in order of a random draw that took place just a few minutes ago. That order will be reversed for the closing statement. And I'd like to turn, I'll ask all the candidates to make sure that you introduce yourselves, and you'll have up to, after you introduce yourselves, you'll have up to 2 minutes for your opening statement. Let's turn to, and speak loudly, please. We have 1 microphone, 1 radio microphone for all of you, so do speak up. And let's go with our first opening statement. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Wilbur Eckes, a candidate for Deerpark Town Council. First, I would like to thank WDLC, WTSX, and Access 8. But most of all, I would like to thank you, the voters of Deerpark, for your past and present support. I'm a lifetime resident of Deerpark, 57 years, and I live on Upper Brook Road. I've been married to my wife Carol for 34 years. We have 3 children, 3 grandchildren. The owner of 2 successful businesses in Deerpark for 33 years, Eckes Auto Body and Lenny's Place, both on Route 42 in Sparrow Bush. I have served on the Deerpark Zoning Board of Appeals, and I'm also a member of the Sparrow Bush Fire Department. I am endorsed by the Republicans on Row B12 and the Independents and the People's Choice on D12. On November the 7th, you, the voters of Deerpark, have a choice to make the changes that so many of you have talked about for the last 6 months when we've been going door to door. Some of these changes that they would like to see is try to keep the Deerpark, the state police in Deerpark, the building inspector, permits, COs, zoning, taxes, cable television, a place for business, a place for a job. New York State sales tax is a big problem with the businesses in Port Jervis and Deerpark. Accountability and discipline for all departments and all department heads. Bring back cleanup week, and most of all, a choice that people can have a voice in how their money is spent. When you support the team that's on Row B, which would be Robert Cunningham, supervisor, myself, Bob Zeller, Shirley Zeller, Linda Otto, William Cron, and John Erie for judge. These choices that you people will make a better Deerpark for all.
Time. Thank you. Candidate number 2, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Excuse me. Good evening. I'm Harry Eric Stein, running for Town Council. I wish to thank WTSX, WDLC, and Access 8 for this opportunity to speak to the voters of Deerpark. The past few months, while going door to door, meeting and speaking with many of you, I've been very encouraged by what I've heard. For years, long before this campaign season has begun, I've worked very hard to improve recreation and long-term planning in Deerpark. I've been on the Recreation Committee, repairing and improving the parks. I have lobbied the state for funds, attended workshops for additional grants, and authored a state grant for future funding. I also contributed to the development and the success of the first and second Deerpark Family Festival. As a member of the Planning Board, I have helped businesses get established, and as chairman of the Planning Board, I have sought information and resources to spur business growth that builds our tax base and will lower the taxes of our homeowners. I am very mindful of the fact that we must coordinate business growth with the preservation of our most valuable assets, the aquifer and our naturally beautiful countryside. This can be done, and I will bring a long-term vision to protect our environment and attract business to Deerpark. I see Deerpark as a place where our children can grow up and raise their families. We must have long-term vision and not custom fit our zoning to appease the personal agendas of a few at the expense of everyone else. I urge all of you to join me and participate personally in this vision. I will be an active councilman. I will accept the responsibility and voluntarily take on projects that the town board or the supervisor recommends. I won't just show up for meetings, but I will work hard with everyone, regardless of their party affiliation, to make this vision a reality. For your future, vote Row or H this Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric Stein, and let's turn to candidate number 3.
My name is John Thibodeau. I've been your councilman for 5 years. It's been a very pleasant experience. I've watched the town grow. I've watched 2 supervisors try to spend the money properly. And in Orange County, I believe that we have the lowest town taxes of anyone else. Some of the things that I've done up here, I'm very proud of. I worked very hard to save the senior shuttle for the seniors. It turned out that it was a very good thing. It provides a lot of good ways for them to travel, to have their things done, which they can't do on the dial-a-bus in Port Jervis, and I think they're all very pleased with that. I've also done something else that pleases me very much. Never, Never have I done anything but represent the Republicans, the Democrats, the Conservatives, and the Independents as individuals and as citizens of this town. I've spoken out real heavy lately about our taxes and uncontrolled growth. It's very often got referred to as trailers against homes. Uncontrolled growth means whatever moves into our town, if it comes too fast and too furious, it'll hit our school district. Your school taxes will go out of sight. I'm afraid my opponents don't recognize that because they have a hidden agenda. And tonight I hope that they can defend their hidden agenda. And I will sit here and wait to see when that happens. That's all I have to say for them.
Thank you. And let's turn to our fourth candidate.
Thank you. My name is Robert Zeller. I have lived in Deer Park for 43 years. My vision for the next 10 years. I would like to see a town that has a clean environment. I would like to see a town that has increased services to its taxpayers and stabilized taxes through good budgeting. I would like to see our roads repaved on a cycle that will limit costs. I would like to see a full-time police force that is backed by state and county services. I would like cost-efficient programs for the seniors as well as the young and the people that fall within the middle. I would like the town's recreation program to grow with more of the financing coming from the state and county. I would like to see clean business and good employment grow in Deer Park. I would like the people of the community to feel that someone is listening to their concerns and reacting to them and not just managing on crisis. I would like to see informal district meetings set up for those who don't or can't make town meetings, giving them the opportunity to voice their opinions. I would like to see common sense decisions made on issues instead of personal agendas. I would like to increase communication between the town board and the subcommittees to give them direction and long-range goals of the town. I would like to see a cost-efficient yearly program for cleanup. I would like to see a town-wide vehicle replacement program instituted. I would like to see the town employees working efficiently with the people and each other. And last, I would like to take politics out of town government and work for all the people all the time. I will support open government. I will support good zoning for all. I will support a clean environment. I will support senior and youth cost-efficient programs. I will support a full-time police force. I will support downsizing government where possible. I will support holding the line on taxes. I will support consistency in the decisions of issues. And above all, I will be fair and open-minded on all decisions. These issues are easily achieved with quality people elected to the town board that have two qualities: being willing to listen and common sense. Vote Robert Zeller, Wilbur Eckes, Town Council, Robert Cunningham, Supervisor. Thank you.
Thank you. We've heard the opening statements of all four of our candidates, Wilbur Eckes, Eric Stein, John Thibodeau, and Robert Zeller. We turn now to questions from a panel of reporters. We have with us this evening two reporters from the Times-Herald-Record, Oliver Maxon and Anita Sharman, and Marty Shore from WDLC, WTSX. Anita, we're going to start with you. This question will go to all candidates, as all questions will tonight, but the first response will come from John Thibodeau. Anita?
Thank you. My first question has to do with an issue that's been very important to all the candidates, and it has to do with zoning. The town has updated the zoning in 1990, and this is for the candidates. Do you think the town needs to revise the zoning ordinance, and why?
This is for me?
It's for all. Well, we'll start with you.
All candidates, but John, you have the first response. 60 seconds per candidate on these questions.
The zoning in basic, the way it's written, isn't a great deal different than the 1970s zoning. However, there's a few things in there that are ambiguous that aren't explained correctly, and they can be corrected. And presently, we have the Zoning Commission reactivated, and they are working on doing exactly that. That zoning, the 1990 zoning, will protect this town from uncontrolled growth. It'll protect it from influx of unwanted projects, and it'll keep your taxes moving at an even pace with growth. And that's the important way to hold taxes down. And I don't think it needs to be abolished. I don't think it needs to be changed drastically. It just needs to be polished up a little bit. And it's in the process at the moment.
Robert Zeller?
I agree with John on some of the facts. I don't feel that the 1990 zoning does have to be abolished, and I've never said that. There's certain areas of the zoning that needs to be revised. Certainly, We differ in opinion on mobile homes and the other portion of the zoning that I believe needs to be looked at is the commercial properties. They have a industrial board, IDA board, that came to them and said that they wanted to bring business into this town. Their own board stood in front of the town board and told them that it was going to be hard to bring in new business if they didn't do something with the existing zoning. I think we have to make it easier for new businesses to come into our town, and I think that there is enough people out there that would like to see a public hearing on the trailers, and I'm willing to open that up again and do that. Do just that. Thank you.
Thank you. Wilbur Eckes.
Yes, the 1990 zoning does have to be changed, especially when it comes right to the planning board. It's so restrictive, even on small projects, where it just stifles the planning board. They go on for 2 and 3, 4 meetings sometimes. It's just not right for small projects to be treated this way. Major projects where it's going to affect the environment and all of that, I can see going through that. The small projects should just 1 meeting, 2 meetings tops and be done and over with. Business, you have to have a business in town. The only place you're going to get any more tax money out of that's going to help anything, people have to live and work in this community. It's just not right to have to drive to Middletown, Newburgh, or down in Jersey to get a job. Thank you.
Eric Stein.
Thank you very much. Zoning is something that I work with constantly as chairman of the planning board currently. The 1990 zoning is not a perfect static document. It has flexibility, and I have added an additional monthly meeting to the planning board in order to speed up the process that the businesses have to go through in approaching setting up their businesses. I've assigned through the board to research and develop suggestions in order to submit recommendations to the town board for improvements to that zoning. Currently we're working on new sign regulations in that manner. In pre-application procedures, I make it as clear as possible for every applicant to know the requirements of the law. And the zoning is the law, and it protects not only, it does not hinder the businesses, because a number of businesses have been brought in, and it needs to be improved, but it's a good document.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. We turn to another question from Oliver Maxson of the Times Herald Record. The first response will come from Robert Zeller. Oliver.
It appears likely, not certain, that the state police barracks in Deerpark will close next year at the troopers who are stationed there now. How would you propose to deal with the impact of that?
Well, first of all, 3 years ago, I supported and brought to in front of the town board a document that I support a full-time police department. I think we still have to move in that direction to control costs. I also feel that we have to be backed by state and county agencies. And I think it should have started a long time ago when Captain Shepherdly was here at the town board meeting and advised everybody to write letters to tell them we wanted to stay here. And I think we still have to lobby our county officials and our state officials to keep that substation open with state police here. But how would I combat that? I would move toward the full-time police force, which has proven already to be a more visible force, and move in that direction through budgeting, reducing the size of the part-time force going full-time. Thank you.
Wilbur Eckes.
On the state police, I don't think there was even an effort made by the previous town board to keep them here. At least the meetings that I've been at, I've never seen it. If it meant building them a building like Greenville, it would have cost $50,000, $60,000. It's still cheap protection to have them here. You had 3 full-time police here on the state police, it was around the clock. There should have been an effort to make them at least build a building, present it to them, and try to keep them in the community. Deerpark Police are doing a good job for what they're doing, and I see it a little different than Bob does, but part-time with them and 1 full-time we got, I think is fine just the way it is.
Eric Stein.
Yes, I'm completely aware of the state police situation and speaking to the officers. And I actually wrote the state police and the county executive on May 6th and received the information back from the state police at that time. And whether the state police, in order to lobby for that station to be kept here, one of the things that, whether in Greenville gets set up or the substation in Deerpark is balanced by the fact that we have a $75,000 3-year grant to put a full-time police officer currently. And the town is also in the process of applying for a second one. Now this will give us a database to compare whether a part-time or full-time police officer force is necessary.
Okay. John Thibodeau?
A full-time police force for our community at this time is too very expensive. People will end up in not too long a period of time, they'll be retiring, they'll be transferring their part-time status into full-time status, and you've got retirement, and eventually it'll cost you a lot of money. And I don't think it's necessary at this time. Sometime down the road, perhaps. But our part-time force does a very good job. I think Tony Tefano should be commended for his job there. In reference to the state police leaving here, well, I don't think they want to stay here because Greenville's cut them a pretty good deal. They don't have any extra funding. We talked about it from the board with them, talked to the supervisor about it. And they're only going to be over the other side of the mountain. They're going to have a 15-man staff, as I understand. And I don't think there was anything we could do to keep them here. They're probably going to go there anyways. And we'll have the same coverage with a 15-man staff, I think. I don't think we'll be hurt at all.
Okay, thank you. Let's turn to another question. This one from Marty Schiller, WDLC, WTSX. The first response will come from Wilbur Elkins. Marty?
The job that the current building inspector has done has come under fire by many people and some of the candidates. In fact, it's become an issue in the campaign. I'd like to know what you feel a building inspector has to do to serve the town of Deerpark as best as he could.
First thing the building inspector should do is read the ordinance himself, understand what it means, because I don't really believe that he does. I personally know that for a fact, okay? If he was to take and enforce the ordinance straight across the board for everybody, it would not be a problem. He's too selective on who he picks on and how he does it. There again, I can prove it with his paperwork and the town's records. It's not just me saying this, I can prove it with his records. 3 out of 4 lawsuits in this town is because of the building inspector. Because he don't understand the ordinance, he listens to somebody, lives next door to somebody, they don't like it, so now he don't like it. Thank you.
Eric Stein?
When and should a problem arise regarding the building inspector, the town board and the building inspector should get together and resolve the matter prior to any activity at a town board meeting. Should there be complaints regarding the building inspector from a citizen, and should that complaint should go directly to the supervisor to try to work out that problem. The building inspector is a hired employee and he is the code enforcement officer. And quite often he works with the planning board and interpretation lies at his office. And the zoning is the law. And thank you very much.
John Thibodeau?
The building inspector's job is interesting. It's probably the most hated job in this town. Nobody likes to be told what to do. Your zoning is what protects your homes and protects your values and protects everything you have in this town, your way of life. He represents that zoning. He makes the determination as to what the zoning said. If you have a problem with it, it's right in place in the town. You go to the Zoning Board of Appeals and ask for a ruling from them, and if he's been wrong, they will overrule him. He acts in everybody's behalf, your behalf and your neighbor's behalf, so that your neighbor doesn't do something so that it messes up your life. He has a tough job. I think he's done a great job. Our last building inspector made a mess of things. There's always be somebody that doesn't want to do what they're supposed to do and follow rules. And I think he's been pretty good. In respect to himself, maybe he's got a personality problem, but I think he's worked hard to clean it up, and we've talked to him about it. But if you have a weak zoning and a weak building inspector, you're going to have a mess in this town.
Robert Zeller.
I think we first have to define what the problem is that everybody's complaining about with the building inspector. Is it the system or is it the person? I think there's problems on both sides. I think the problem falls with some of the zoning that we have, and something that John brought up is personality. Sometimes Bruce comes off the wrong way. How do we clean that up? You start with talking with them. If that doesn't work, then you move on to the next approach of discipline. And you work and you try to save a person. That's what you try to do with any employee. You work with them. If it doesn't work out, the bottom line is replace them if need be. But I think we have to define the problem, whether it's the system or the person. And I think we got problems in both areas.
All right, thank you. We'll go to another question in just a moment. If there are any written questions from the audience that have not been handed in, please pass them up in my direction at this time. If there are any other questions out there, do I see any?